Hello, it is your sleepless god back with another video, and maybe the last, of what if Percy was trained by Persephone and Hades part 11. So, do what we normally do. We start with a recap. So the last time we left off, the crew landed on the island and started adventuring. Finally, getting Grover back, but also getting the fleece that gave the ability to, help the tree out and also regrow it better than it was beforehand. When they finally got it back, it had escaped from Polyphemus, obviously. When they finally got onto the ship, they started sailing as they started realizing to this point that they're not, if they keep on, when they finally landed, if they keep on with their track that they're going, they're not going to make it back in time before the tree collapses into nothingness and they are basically done. They failed the mission. So they land in, if I remember correctly, if you want to correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's Miami. I think it's Miami. They finally land in Miami. Percy, like, everyone's trying to scramble, like, thinking of an idea, like, and Percy just says, he hands $125, the rest of his money that he had from his father, to Talia, and he says, "Go." Talia's like, "What?" He says, "You're the fastest one here. You're also a goddess of Zeus. Go order a plane ticket. Go fly." I know you're scared of heights, but you're the only one here that's not Annabeth or Luke who can make it here, and you're faster than any of us with your lightning abilities. Sprint as fast as you can to an airplane station. I don't care if people see you. I don't even care if people even recognize you. Sprint as fast as you can. Get a plane ticket. Fly back as fast as you can. Please. As they hand Talia $125, the fucking fleece, and he just says, "Go," as Talia lightning puts an entire lightning cloak around her and blitzes off. Percy just kind of smiles, and as they kind of start walking around Miami, as Percy feels a sword in his throat, as he sees like almost 200 half-bloods and more enemies than anyone else. As Talia, he's already gone, so he's like, he doesn't even care really. As he looks at him and just says, "Oh," as all he hears is a cock in the back of his head as he looks behind him using his peripherals, seeing the same kid that he saw beforehand with the gun in his hand. He says, "Yeah, why don't you, walk back and give us, maybe some directions." As Annabeth, Luke, and Percy all go back to their ship, as still gun pointed in the back of Percy's head the entire way there, as the only time he gets a break is when they finally get on the ship. And when they finally get on the ship, the gun is lowered, and he walked off to the side as Chloe steps up and says, "So, I see you finally made it back." As he looks around the kind of cargo area of this ship with monsters all around him and half-bloods as well, he says, "I see there's a bunch of fucking pricks in here as well." As he says, "Oh shit, sorry, I said that out loud, didn't I?" As he sees a fountain, a water fountain. as he grabs one of his last drachmas, getting prepared as he walks up and says, "So what was your great plan?" As he turns him back to Talia from all the rest of the crew, as he kind of flicks the coin into the pond, not trying to make a loud noise, but just talking while it's happening as like a distracting sound to it, as he silently prayers for the irises to get through. As he looks up as the irises is in Camp Half-Blood in front of the pavilion. As he, before they can even speak to him, he says, "So, what was your plan this entire time? To poison the tree, frame Chiron so he gets out of the way, and everything to be fine again?" As Talia smiles. Not Talia, sorry. She smiles as she says, "Yeah. I see you're not as dumb as you think," Siri Brain says. He looks over and he says, "Don't fucking call me that." As this is true anger, he says, "Only one person can call me that. And that's only out of love and loathing. You calling me that," as he puts his back to it, trying to hide the iris message itself, making it small enough to him that his back is covering it. "So what? You did all of this for what, funnies?" It's like, "No, we did this to raise Kronos back from the dead." Because in his mind, he says, "Oh shit, this is actually happening. Villains actually monologue. Holy shit." He says, "Yeah, right. You can bring him back. Well, you're going to put 1,000 pieces," as they bring out the coffin. The golden coffin. He says, "No, but with the fleece itself, we can bring him back a lot easier," as she rubs the coffin. "Clarice, you know that's not going to work. Because I'll fight you to the bloody end, and you will kill hundreds of these people." As he hears a cock, as he looks over as the 6-shooters right. They're on the top balcony as he's pointing right at him. So that's it. You're just gonna bring back the dead. As says, "Why are you asking me these stupid questions? You already know all my answers." He says, "Yeah, I do." But he tilts off to the side as the entire camp can see them faces, shocked and surprised. But they don't. She looks at him and just says, "You motherfucker." As all she says is fire, as he knows what that order will mean. He time stops. He kind of sees the bullet, just the angle of it going towards him as he moves forward, slices Carice, jumps up, and before he can get to him, the bullet already started. Tick the timer. He's pushed his time stop so many times that his body can't handle it all the time. Before he can even get to him, time stop ends, and he gets to the point where he just has to fuck it. He tackles him to the ground, grabs his gun, and breaks his hand with just twisting his wrist and shattering it, tossing the gun to the side and jumping with it. As Clarice, luckily with her armor, is still alive, but you hear just a scrape and blood and scream as I'm trying to think, but also talk at the same time. One second. As Annabeth's like, "What's their fucking genius strategy now?" Percy is like, "Well, I didn't think this far through." As he kind of smiles as he looks over as he sees a cage of an animal, a horse, particularly a flying horse, as he says, "Well, I got an idea." As he cuts the cage lock, opening up as he grabs the black horse. As he walks forward and says, as the guys are charging, as he bust a hole into the ship itself, making a massive water as he makes some of the people fall, as he controls the water to push people back. As he turns over, as when he does that, and all three of them hop on, he sees a massive horde of ponies as a couple of the crew start charging again, as boxing glove arrows and like paintballs start shooting at them, get smacked in the face, as everything is going crazy, as the pony army charges it and crosses up. The ponies don't have enough numbers to keep it up, but guess what? It doesn't matter, as he sees Chiron, as Chiron looks at him and just says, "Oh yeah, boy, how are you doing?" As he says, "I'm doing great, Chiron, especially with you guys here. Now let's go," as he hears a gunshot, as a bullet pierces his side. He looks over as he sees the kid, gun in hand, other hand, as it pierces his left side and hits his ribs, shattering on impact. As Chiron grabs him as he falls off, as he grabs all the other kids, as he yells at the horse to fly off and to Camp Half-Blood, as the bullet pierces his side, as Chiron says, "Don't worry, boy, we'll make it there in time." As they all start running, all the ponies start running, as Clarice, also breathing really heavily because of the cut, just says, "Go get them! Get them!" As the ponies start running, as Percy doesn't know if this is the adrenaline happening in his body or it's just fucking magic, but it seems like they're going so fast, as they're literally sprinting as fast as they possibly can to Camp Half-Blood. As they finally make it to Camp Half-Blood, as instantaneously they put ointment on the wound, the bullet, and luckily it didn't pierce that far, and also it hit his ribs, so it almost broke on impact. So it's fine for him, but for anyone else it might be dangerous. But luckily he's built of stronger stuff, stronger material. He's built different. He's built a little bit, a little bit different, you say. Literally, he's built from the Hell Realm. Literally, he's just built from the underworld. But he finally wakes up from the medical seizure, as from the wards, as he feels the weather outside being warmer. He doesn't even have to walk outside. He knows it's warmer. When he finally walks outside, and the warm temperature feels, and the last clouds are in the sky, he looks over at Talia's tree, as it's the thing is already on it, as there's now nightly watches, as Mr. D and Chiron are basically training a dragon, or a dragon-like, to guard it, as they are basically guarding the tree itself right now, so this will never happen again. And for the final feast before Percy goes back to the Hell Realm, or I should say the Underworld, but I say Hell Realm for some reason, Mr. D finally announces that you are not needed no more. And before he disappears, Percy snaps his fingers. As he's going to disappear, he's going to fade away, but he comes back. As he's like, what did you? As Percy looks at the person that took Chiron's spot, this person that gave him hell for the days that it was there, and told him that I have to tell you a story. As he grabs him and says, "Let me tell you a story." He whispers in her ear a little bit, just says, "I'll tell you a story of a kid going down to hell, the underworld, to torture a man that ripped his family apart." You put him down as he snaps his fingers again, as he finally just disappears. As it comes pretty natural for the life. He lives his life, he does sword lessons until the end. Until Tyson has to leave because his father called for him. Poseidon calls for Tyson to come down. Tyson feels kind of sad to leave Percy, especially because they didn't talk that often as they wanted to. But Percy knows that it's Tyson's duty and mine to do what he needs to do. And Tyson doesn't feel bad too much to leave Percy after that. They finally leave. As before, Percy leaves to go to the underworld to train and get back together with Time Stop and train his body and mind. Annabeth runs up to him and says, I want to give you something real quick before you leave." As Percy smiles and just says, "What is it?" Just says, "Don't say it's a kiss on the cheek. I'm not going to accept it." Says, "Shut up, you big gulf," as he grabs his hand and gives him a ring. It's a ring that if you twist it, it shows all the adventures when they have been on, the going on the Queen's End Revenge, and the sailing on the ship, and going to the island with all the pirates, and beating Polyphemus, and Tyson throwing the rock, and they getting back and giving the fleece. As Percy says, "Who made this?" Tyson made it, but I asked him to. As he looks at it and says, "It's beautiful." As he puts it onto his finger and says, "I don't think I will ever take it off." As Percy smiles at her and says, "I have a gift for you too." And says, "What is it?" As he kisses her on the cheek and says, "Just a little kiss." As he walks away, walking through the ceramic barriers, as he feels them being strengthened by this fleece. As he now goes back down to the underworld to do his training. As this is where we're going to end it off, the true end, the final end of What If Percy Was Trained by Persephone Hades, Book 2. When I finish the Book 3, we'll get on to Book 3. Don't feel too sad, don't feel too happy either. But I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. I'd see you guys later if buttons would